Sutta uvacha Atmarama samunayo nishanta apyokame Govantahai tukim bhaktim itam buddha gunohari. Word for word translation. Sutta uvacha, Sutta Goswami said, Atmarama, those who take pleasure in Atma, Cha also, Munaya sages, Nishantaha, freed from all bondage, Api, in spite of Okame, and to the great adventurers, Govanti, do, Ahai to Kim, unalloyed, Bhaktim, devotional service, Itambuta, such wonderful, Gunaha, qualities, Arihi, of the Lord. Translation and purport by Abhaicha Navinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. All different varieties of Atmarams, those who take pleasure in Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. This is a key verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's a long purport. I will read the purport now. That Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this Atmaram sloka very vividly before the chief devotee Srila Sanatan Goswami. He points out 11 factors in the sloka, namely 1. Atmaram, 2. Munaya, 3. Nijanta, 4. Api, 5. Cha, 6. Okama, 7 is Govanti, 8 is Ahaitukim, 9 is Bhaktim, 10 is Itam Buddha Guna, and 11 is Arihi. According to the Vishva Prakash Sanskrit dictionary, there are 7 synonyms for the word Atmaram, which are as follows: Brahman, 1. Brahman, the absolute truth; 2. Body; 3. Mind; 4. Endeavor; 5. Endurance; 6. Intelligence; and 7. Personal habits. The word Munaya refers to 1. Those who are thoughtful; 2. Those who are grave and silent; 3. Ascetics; 4. The persistent; 5. The mendicants; 6. The sages; and 7. Saints. The word Nijanta conveys these ideas. 1. One who is liberated from nescience. 2. One who has no connection with scriptural injunction. This is who is freed from the obligation of the regulations mentioned in the revealed scripture like ethics, Vedas, philosophy, psychology, and metaphysics. In other words, the fools, illiterate urchins, etc., who have no connection with regulative principles. 3. A capitalist, and also 4. One who is penniless. According to the Sapta Coast Dictionary, the affix ni is used in the sense of 1. Certainty, 2. Counting, 3. Building, and 4. Forbiddance. And the word granta is used in the sense of wealth, thesis, vocabulary, etc. The word Urukama means the one whose activities are glorious. Krama means step. This word Rukrama specifically indicates the Lord's incarnation as Vaman, who covered the whole universe by immeasurable steps. Lord Vishnu is powerful, and his activities are so glorious that he has created the spiritual world by his eternal potency and the material world by his external potency. By his all-pervading features, he is everywhere present as a supreme truth. And in his personal feature, he is always present in his transcendental abode of Goloka Vrindavan, where he displays his transcendental pastimes in all variegatedness. His activities cannot be compared to anyone else, and therefore the word Rukrama is just applicable to him only. According to Sanskrit verbal arrangement, Govanti refers to doing things for someone else. Therefore, it means that the Atmarams render devotional service to the Lord for personal interest, not for personal interest, but for the pleasure of the Lord, Rukrama. Hetu means causal. There are many causes for one's sense gratification, and they can be chiefly classified as material enjoyment, mystic powers, and liberation, which are generally desired by progressive persons. As far as material enjoyment are concerned, they are innumerable, and the materialists are eager to increase them more and more because they are under the illusory energy. There is no end to the list of material enjoyment, nor can anyone in the material universe have all of them. As far as the mystic powers are concerned, there are 8 in all, such to become the minutest in form, to become weightless, to have anything one desires, to lord it over material nature, to control other living entities, to throw earthly globes in outer space, etc. These mystic powers are mentioned in the Bhagavatam. The forms of liberation are 5 in number. Therefore, unalloyed devotion means service to the Lord without desire for the above-mentioned personal benefits, and the powerful personality of Goddess Sri Krishna can be fully satisfied by unalloyed devotees, free from all sorts of desires for material benefits. Unalloyed devotional service to the Lord progresses in different stages. Practice of devotional service in the material field is of 81 different qualities, and above such activities is the transcendental practice of devotional service, which is one and is called sadhana bhakti. When unalloyed practice or sadhana bhakti is matured into transcendental love for the Lord, the transcendental loving service of the Lord gradually developing into 9 progressive stages of loving service under the add-ons of attachment, love, affection, feelings, affinity, adherence, following ecstasy, and intense feelings of separation. The attachment of an inactive devotee develops up to the stage of transcendental love of God. Attachment of an active servitor develops up to the stage of adherence, and that for a friendly devotee develops up to the stage of following, and the same is also the case for paternal devotees. Devotees in conjugal love develop ecstasy up to the stage of intense feelings of separation. These are some of the features of unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. According to Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, the importance of the word Itam Buddha is complete bliss. Transcendental bliss in the realization of impersonal Brahman comes comparably to the scanty water contained in the pit made by cow's hoof. It is nothing compared with the ocean of bliss of the vision of the personality of God. That the personal form of Lord Sri Krishna is so attractive that it comprehends all attraction, all bliss, and all taste rasas. These attractions are so strong that no one wants to exchange them for material enjoyment, mystic power, and liberation. There is no need of logical arguments in support. There is no need of logical arguments in support of this statement, but out of one's own nature, one becomes attracted by the qualities of Lord Sri Krishna. We must know for certain that the qualities of the Lord have nothing to do with mundane qualities. All of them are full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. There are innumerable qualities of the Lord, and one is attracted by one quality while another is attracted by another. Great sages such as the four bachelor devotees Sanak, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar were attracted by the fragrance of the flowers and tulsi leaves, anointed with the pulp of sandalwood offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, Sukadev Goswami was attracted by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Sukadev Goswami was already situated in the liberated stage, yet he was attracted by the pastimes of the Lord. This proves that the quality of his pastimes has nothing to do with material affinity. Similarly, the young cowherd damsels were attracted by the bodily features of the Lord, and Rukmini was attracted by hearing about the glories of the Lord. Lord Krishna attracts even the minds of the goddess of fortune. He attracts, in special occasions, the minds of all young girls. He attracts the mind of the elderly ladies by paternal affection. He attracts the mind of the male in the humors of servitude and friendship. The word Hari conveys various meanings, but the chief import of the word is that he, the Lord, vanquishes everything inauspicious and takes away the mind of the devotee by awarding pure transcendental love. By remembering the Lord in acute distress, one can be free from all varieties of miseries and anxieties. Surely, the Lord vanquishes all obstacles on the path of devotional service of a pure devotee, and the result of 9 devotional activities such as hearing and chanting becomes manifested. By his personal features and transcendental attributes, the Lord attracts all psychological activities of a pure devotee. Such is the attractive power of Lord Krishna. The attraction is so powerful that a pure devotee never hankers for any of the 4 principles of religion. These are the attractive features of the transcendental attributes of the Lord. And adding to this, the words api and cha, one can increase the imports unlimitedly. According to Sanskrit grammar, there are 7 synonyms for the word api. So by interpreting each and every word of this sloka, one can see unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna that attracts the mind of a pure devotee. Go back to the verse. Atmarama samunayo nishanta apyo kame kaufantait kim bhaktim itam buddhagunohari. All different varieties of Atmarams, those who take pleasure in Atma, or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though free from all kinds of material bondage, they desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. It means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including the liberated souls. Om Gyanati Mandasya Chanansalasnak Section Militamina Tasmai Sigurave Nama Chichitayamanopistam Staptam Yena Bhutalisvam Rabkadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padkamlam Shigam Vaishnavamsha Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devan Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Banajyat Pate Kaupesha Kaupakanta Radha Kanta Namastate Taptakan Sakangi Radhe Vrindavanashvara Vishabhani Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriya Pankha Kalptrabhisha Kripa Sinabhebhisha Patinam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaura Bhaktavanya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai. Desatan Srila Prabhupada Ki. So in the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada gives many essential points of our philosophy of Krishna consciousness. What this verse shows is that the liberated persons like Sukadev Goswami or the four Kumaras mentioned in the purports, they became attracted when they were hearing about Krishna, when they came in contact with Krishna by hearing, or the four Kumaras, they saw the Lord personally at the gate of Vaikuntha, and that so it means that this liberated person have no material desires anymore. They have no desires anymore. Still, they are attracted by the Lord. Yeah, they are attracted by the Lord, desiring to perform 9 forms of devotional service, which are mentioned here. So what does that mean? One has no material desires, has given up everything in this world, and no material desires. One has realized I'm a spirit soul, I'm not this body. I have nothing to do with this material world. That completely detached from this material world. But then they become attached to the Supreme Personality of God. That means there is a pleasure, a higher pleasure beyond liberation, which attracts even liberated souls. It means also that liberation is only a stage that we go through in devotional service. That the Atmarams here of the many times they are jnanis, studying the difference between matter and spirit of spirit. They aim for liberation. But higher than the jnani is the yogi. The yogi, he has already attained, when he gets his realization of Paramatma in the heart, he has gone beyond liberation already. That's Paramatma realization. But a higher realization than Brahman and Paramatma realization is Bhagavan realization. And that gives the highest pleasure. It's mentioned here in each verse. The pleasure of Brahman multiplied 1,000,000 times is even not comparable to the pleasure of ecstatic love of Krishna. And so yes, indeed, Lord Chaitanya explained this Atmaram sloka in so many ways to Sanatan Goswami, 64 ways, that and all these elements that are mentioned here, they are qualities of Krishna. Qualities that attract the conditioned soul. So there are unlimited qualities in the Lord that attract him. That's here, yeah. Itam Buddha Gono Hari. Itam Buddha Gono. Wonderful qualities of the Lord that attract everyone. But mostly when we perform devotional service, we are far from the Atmaram stage. Atmaram stage means completely peaceful, blissful. So what we was still conditioned. We tried to perform devotional service in the published mentioned that, I think 81 or 84 ways of performing devotional service that in the modes. But so you have the performance of devotional service in the modes where we have still material desires, impure heart, and you have pure transcendental devotional service, which is only done with the motivation to please Krishna. That's the Anyabhilasta Sunyam verse, that no other desires than to please Krishna. But many times we have still material desires, and we try to come to that platform of performing pure devotional service. But if therefore, in the purport of 10.9 Bhagavad Gita, was the verse that Machita Prana Bodhayantas Prashpram Kadyansamam Nityam Tushanti Sharamantisha. So those devotees, they discuss Krishna's pastimes and about Krishna. They converse about Krishna, and they feel great transcendental pleasure just by doing that. They feel great transcendental pleasure. But in the purport, Srila Prabhupada in the beginning writes, yes, that in the advanced stage, one feels this great transcendental pleasure. But in the beginning, we must, when we perform devotional service, even in the conditioned state, with that we try to serve the Supreme Lord, we are sincerely trying to do everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then you will feel satisfied in your devotional service. And that's the first achievement. In material life, you can never be satisfied. But here, yes, you become satisfied. Now, further about this verse, because on this verse we can give a seminar of 10 lessons maybe, or more. It is unlimited to explain the context even of this verse. And that, so what can I say? I'm also not qualified to speak on it, but yes, that the Atmarama verse, that Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya to explain this Atmarama verse, because he knew that before he has explained it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So the first time he explained it was to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya when Lord Chaitanya arrived for the first time in Jagannath Puri. And he went ahead because, and when he entered the Jagannath temple, and he came before Jagannath, then Lord Chaitanya became so overwhelmed with love for Krishna, he fainted on the floor. And one of the watchmen in the temple wanted to beat him, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya stopped him. It's because, he forbade him. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great pandit, and well-known scholar. It was a follower of Sankaracharya. And he was in charge of the temple, and he saw Lord Chaitanya lying on the floor unconscious, and he was attracted by his personal beauty of Lord Chaitanya. and he saw all the transcendental transformations of his body. But Lord Chaitanya remained unconscious for a long time. So, but Acharya was thinking what to do. He took some cotton, put it before the nostrils of Lord Chaitanya, and he could see that he was still breathing, but very weak. So he with the help of this watchman, Lord Chaitanya in this unconscious state was, well, transcendental state, you can say, not really unconscious maybe. But he carried Lord Chaitanya to his home and let him down in a very nice room. And Sarvabhauma was looking at the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He saw that he was still very slightly breathing. He thought, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was thinking this is a transcendental state, the state of transcendental ecstatic transformation due to love of Krishna. So he saw all these symptoms and he could immediately understand the ecstatic transformations in the body of Lord Chaitanya. And he could understand he is an eternal, liberated person. So he said to Lord Chaitanya, well, he was thinking these symptoms are very wonderful. How is it possible that they can appear in the body of a human being? At that time, Lord Nityananda and other associates of Lord Chaitanya arrived. And they heard at Jagannath Puri what happened. And so they went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So, yes, then there is Gopinath Acharya. He was originally from Nadia, Navadvip, and he was the son-in-law of Visharat, who was also a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Gopinath Acharya knew the identity of Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yes, and it was very astonishing to see Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. But Gopinath Acharya received all these great devotees who came from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, and they inquired, of course, about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mukunda said, yes, the Lord already arrived. So, yes, and then Mukunda, anyway, Lord Chaitanya, all the associates of Lord Chaitanya said, yeah, Lord Chaitanya left us on the way of Jagannath Puri. He went ahead, and we are looking for him. They heard from the talks in Jagannath Puri that he was now in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so they went to see Lord Chaitanya in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and he was in a severe condition. They heard he was in a severe condition. But yes, all the devotees went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, And there the Lord Chaitanya was still lying unconscious. And seeing this, Gopinath Acharya became unhappy. But at the same time, he was happy to see the Lord. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya permitted all the devotees to come to see Lord Chaitanya, and they offered obeisances that they were all happy to see Lord Chaitanya. But then, yes, so they when the devotees were around Lord Chaitanya, who was still unconscious, they all started to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And because the Lord arrived early in the morning, but then it was noontime when he regained consciousness, external consciousness. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very happy to see Lord Chaitanya regaining consciousness. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to all the devotees, please take your bath, and I shall offer you Mahaprasadam from Lord Jagannath. So they will all be bathing in the sea, and they returned to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made arrangements to bring Mahaprasad from the temple of Jagannath. But then Lord Chaitanya, a little later in the pastime, said to Lord Chaitanya Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya offered his obeisance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in return, Lord Chaitanya said, Krishna Matirastu, let your attention be on Krishna. Hearing this word, Sarvabhauma understood that Lord Chaitanya was a Vaishnava sannyasi. Sarvabhauma then said to Gopinath Acharya, I want to know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's previous situation. But Gopinath Acharya said, there was a man named Jagannath who was a resident of Navadvip and whose surname was Mishra Purandar. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the son of Jagannath Mishra, and his former name was Vishvambar. He is also the grandson of Nilambar Chakravarti. Anyway, the conversation continues. But then Sarvabhauma, I will summarize to come to the Atmarama verse. Lord Chaitanya said, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Lord Chaitanya, you are a Bharati sannyasi, because Lord Chaitanya took sannyasi from an impersonalist, Keshava Bharati, in Kashi, I forget the name, but he took initiation from him, and he got an Eka Danda, and before he arrived in Jagannath Puri, anyway, that's a detail. But the Bharati sannyasis, it's just in the line of Sankaracharya, the impersonalists, that they were from a lower status of sannyasis. And therefore, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, you are so young, so beautiful. It's a very dangerous position as a sannyasi, but I will educate you in Vedanta. the Brahma Sutras. That so I will make from you a Sarasvati sannyasi, a very learned sannyasi, a higher class. And Lord Chaitanya humbly submitted himself, yes, you are my spiritual master, please instruct me. And during 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya instructed the Lord about the impersonalist, the Mayavadi explanation of the Vedanta Sutras, the Brahma Sutras. But Lord Chaitanya 7 days listened and he said no, he didn't say anything. But then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that how can I know that you have understood what I am teaching you? You don't say anything. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, these Brahma Sutras are the direct meaning is very clear to me. But your explanation is clouding the meaning. There are clouds covering the real meaning. Okay, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, you explain the sutras of the Brahma Sutras. And Lord Chaitanya explained them that in a very brilliant way, refuting everything, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that, and then after that, the Lord Chaitanya asked the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to explain the Atmarama verse. And I think that Sarvabhauma explained it in 18 ways, the meaning of the Atmarama verse. Interesting. And then Lord Chaitanya explained to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Atmarama verse in 64 ways, even without touching the 18 ways that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explained it. After that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can do this. That's such a brilliant explanation. And then his heart changed and he became a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya at that time showed him his 6th arm form. That's called Sadbhuj. 2 arms with a bow and an arrow, that's Lord Ram. And then 2 arms, Krishna playing his flute. And then 2 arms down, one with a danda, sannyas danda, and a water pot. That's Lord Chaitanya. So these are, and at that moment, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya accepted him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because his son-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, had told him many times, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by that, that's the conversion of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya from an impersonalist to a devotee, just by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Because he became attracted by Lord Chaitanya. He was practically also Atmarama, but and he became attracted. So that is also very important for us to understand this verse. This verse, it shows the superiority of devotional service over in relation to liberation. A devotee does not desire this liberation of this Atmarama situation. Dat Chaitanya says, na danam na chans na sundaram kavata shikami mamacha mamicha mishvaya bhavata bhakti ahaitukitvayi. I do not want any beautiful women or I don't want wealth. I don't want many followers. I don't want liberation, he says. I only want your causeless devotional service. So that is the higher taste. Because this is the pleasure of the soul, which is far, far beyond liberation. This ananda, which comes from love of Krishna. This is what everyone is seeking in this world. But if one seeks this happiness in the world, one becomes only frustrated. And then out of frustration, one gives up and strives for liberation. But in liberation, there is also not pleasure. There is only some peace. And the soul wants activities, wants a loving relationship with Krishna. In that loving relationship, we have all. It cannot be broken, but it's interrupted now. It's covered by material consciousness. And the Krishna is appeared as the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam, if we become pure in heart, we become automatically attracted to the Bhagavatam. How can we become attracted to the Bhagavatam? You hear the Bhagavatam with great attention and you serve the spiritual master. And what happens then? Then you get attraction for Krishna. And from the moment you get attraction, your heart becomes purified. So that's the mystic from the Bhagavatam. We hear the Bhagavatam every day and we serve the spiritual master, follow his instructions, do service. And then if we are sincere, that will develop. And that brings us to liberation and beyond. Because that's the difference with the other processes. What are we doing? 9 processes of devotional service. Shavana Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vanam, Dasanam, Sakramatnam, Nivedanam. We hear about Krishna, we chant about Krishna, we serve Krishna, and so on. And what do they do in the spiritual world? Mother Yasoda is churning the milk, and she's reciting composed verses, depicting or describing Krishna's pastimes. Yeah, completely absorbed in that the whole day. That is what they do in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, they serve Krishna, we serve the deity. Yes, it's the same activity. The same activity from the first day we practice devotional service. And we become purified. And what do they do in the spiritual world? The same activity. So it's no different. Here they are. We chant the holy name. In the spiritual world, they are chanting the holy names. When Krishna disappeared from the rasa dance, they were all chanting together, the gopis, the holy names of Krishna. Prabhupada mentioned in Krishna book and Krishna had to appear. So that's the power of the holy name. That brings us far beyond this liberation. So therefore also a Brahmin means one who is liberated. But a devotee goes beyond liberation, so he's higher than a Vaishnava. He has realized that Krishna is in the heart of everyone, and he realizes Krishna as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of course, that doesn't happen overnight. It's a process to go through. But this is this Atmarama verse that, and there's much more to say about it, but I try to mention essential points here so that we understand the purpose of the Atmarama verse here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Are there any questions, please?
Oh, yeah, it's on you. Oh, yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for class. So I was reading yesterday about that there's 3 different types of ways we can perform devotional service in ignorance, passion, and goodness. So how does one go, like, what are some practical steps one can come out of serving in a like ignorance mode and like progress to the mode of good, like performing devotional activities in the mode of goodness? So
Yeah.
practical stuff.
Practical steps, yes. That's practical steps to get out of it. It means one must learn what's pure devotional service. Serving Krishna without asking something in return. So, and that is love. One must learn what is love, really. That is what it is about. But in the beginning, we are impure. But if we hear the Bhagavatam, then and the Bhagavad Gita every day, we get to learn the importance of having the right motivation. At the same time, we must live in goodness, alive in goodness. And hearing the Bhagavatam has 2 effects. We become really attached to Krishna. As we are attached to Krishna, we become detached from this material world. So how that works is perfectly explained in the Bhagavatam. We say this verse every day. Nastri is about the Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavata Tamastri Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. By daily hearing, by daily attending the class of the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all what is troublesome to the heart is removed from the heart. And what is troublesome to the heart is what you have mentioned. We act in a mode of passion and ignorance, even in devotional service. But by hearing daily, Tatora Jastamova Kamlobasayasite Sitera Anavitam Stitvishatva Prashidati. By hearing the class of the Bhagavatam every day, shallily, we go up in the modes, we come to goodness, and the influence of passion and ignorance is gradually destroyed. And then you become peaceful. That Stitve Sattve Prasidati means you are situated in the mode of goodness. That when you are in, how do I know that I'm in the mode of goodness? That when you are situated in the mode of goodness, then Evam Pranasha Manasha, your mind is peaceful, not disturbed by all these material desires anymore. And then when you are situated in a peaceful condition, then Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, then you can give your love for Krishna. You can really practice Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, what's in the heart is all material attachment and all material desires. We cannot offer that to Krishna when that's in your heart. Then you offer your love. Then real love becomes manifested. And then by that love, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I can only be understood by Ananya Bhakti, pure devotion and service. Then you start to understand Krishna. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, you realize Krishna's position and you become attracted. And Mukta Sangasya Jayate, then you go beyond liberation. That because Vidyate Redegantis, that breaks your connection with this world. Then you give all this up, all this material attachment. Sityante Sarvasamsya. Everything becomes clear, 100% clear. That, and then after that, Ksyanti Sarva Karmani. Then all your karma, even the finest trace of karma, is all destroyed. And then you see your situation. You see Krishna on the spiritual platform and yourself. And you are situated in a relationship of love with Krishna. That relation of love make Krishna reciprocate. That Krishna becomes the servant of his devotees. I think they are offline for the moment. That anyway, we can end the class here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.